Ladies and gentlemen, this is so frustrating. This is the third time I've recorded that. First time, audio wasn't recording on computer with this microphone. And the second time, the audio wasn't working on the camera. Fucked up. So we're going to have to pretend this isn't the third time I've done it. I apologize. This being out late, I'm going to start filming these like 3 or 4 days before fight night, so it actually makes sense that I put it out, not while fight night's happening. It's like I'm making predictions after the fights happen. Moving on. UFC Fight Night ESPN Plus. Amazing card. I'm so excited for this one. It's going to be a chicken wing night. You know what I'm saying? That's when there's a good fight night. I like to make wings, buy wings, get some burgers. It's one of those where you really like to indulge, be ceremonious about the fight night, you know? I was confused. Early prelims, ESPN Plus app, prelims on ESPN channel, main event or main card on ESPN Plus app again. I don't know. UFC, I mean, it's only $4.99 a month, but come on, dog. That's just a weird move. I just learned how to bootleg FS1. I mean, I just got FS1. Moving on, starting with the early prelims. In general, I'm just excited to watch Bilal Muhammad fight and Dennis Bermudez. I like watching them fight. I don't have predictions for those ones because I don't know their opponents enough. All I can say is Jeff Neal. I don't like people that spell their name Geoff. Geoff. Your name is Geoff. Don't try to pretend that's Jeff. It's like some girl named Becky being like, my name's Bouquet, you know? It just doesn't make sense. That's not your name. I'm going to try to blow through this, giggity, because it's going to come out so late. I might just put it on Instagram. We're going to see what happens. So let's talk about 2 fights on the prelims that I want to talk about. Joanne Calderwood. Braveheart herself. She makes me wish I was Mel Gibson and I could just yell freedom all night long and just, I don't know, there's something about her I love. I love you and I'm rooting for you always. On a serious note, I think it's going to be a good showcase of her stand-up, and I'll be honest, I don't know much about her opponent. The fight that could be the main event of this card, if there wasn't a title fight, Alexander Hernandez versus Donald Cerrone. This is a beautiful fight. It's a classic fight, but I don't think it's going to go classically how it normally goes. And I think Vegas has this one wrong. Donald Cerrone is the underdog. He's coming back down to 155. He made the weight. He looks great. Looked like the Undertaker a little bit, but they think this is going to be the tale that repeats itself. Tale as old as time. Young, up-and-coming, super talented fighter versus the older vet, aging vet, a little long in the tooth. No, I don't think Donald Cerrone is there yet. And I don't think this story is that story. It's been very confusing, the amount of words that I've used right now. This fight's going to go one of 2 ways only. This is going to be a classic fight like Conor McGregor versus Khabib. All you kept hearing with predictions was Conor McGregor is going to knock him out. It's going to be this. It's going to be a blowout, and he's going to kind of showcase. That fight could have gone that way, and you're going to see just a showcase of stand-up, hashtag Eddie Alvarez. And then the other way was Khabib wins, and it's going to look like a man versus a child. He's just going to ragdoll him, and it's going to be dominant either way it went. And that's kind of how the fight went. And that's literally, it was a weird thing. Like, you don't realize it till it's over. But it was hard to predict because you can't be like, oh, this could happen, this can happen, because there were such specialists on each side of the map that it was only going to go those ways. I think this is a similar fight, but for different reasons. I think they're just not meeting at the right time for Alex yet. I think Donald Cerrone still has a lot of fight in him, and he's still getting better. And one thing that he has on his side is Cowboy fights best when he doesn't have a huge rest. When there's not that pressure, he's just going out there doing his thing, and he's staying active. I think some of his best fights have been after that. I think when he gets off too long, he doesn't pull the trigger as much. Hashtag cowboy pun. And yeah, I think it's going to go, when I say it's going to go two ways, you're going to either see it be a quick knockout by Alexander Hernandez. He's going to catch Cowboy and he's going to kind of steamroll through him in the first round. Or we're going to see Cowboy picking him apart and just, using technique and just outclassing. And I could see a possible submission for Cowboy. Yeah, I see him trying to take Cowboy down eventually and Cowboy getting a submission. His ground game is so underrated. And maybe it's not. Maybe people know. But his stand-up is just so good and he's so accurate and deadly that, you kind of overlook his ground game sometimes. Beautiful shit. I don't see it being like a split decision. I don't see it being one of those close fights where they're kind of have the same skill set, if that makes sense. I'm very excited to see that fight. That might be the fight that I'm most excited to see. I'm lying. The main event, anytime you have a super fight, it's pretty exciting. And Henry Cejudo talks in third person. Who doesn't like watching crazy people fight, you know? Now to the main card. We're going to try to blow through these to get to the main event. Glover Teixeira. Glover was that dude that you heard about like Voldemort. Like back in the day, before he was in the UFC, you always were hearing about this world beater. And like Glover, if he can just get to the UFC. And it was like years before, you know? But by the time he kind of made it to the UFC, the spotlight was a little past him almost, you know? His prime was a little bit behind. You're on the tail end of it. But he's still doing work, and he's an amazing fighter. I just think he's kind of been fighting for a long time. And I still, even though that, I still am going to go with him with a late finish or a decision. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why there will be so many erections while watching ESPN Plus, Paige Van Zandt versus Rachel Ostovich. Paige Van Zandt, Rachel Ostovich. The battle of the dime pieces. I like to call this fight UFC 5 cents short of a quarter. Get it? To be honest, this fight, I guess it makes sense in some ways. I just think it's two hot chicks going at it. Cool, bro. But I do think it's going to be a pretty dominant performance by Paige Van Zandt. I think she's more well-rounded in every aspect, and it's going to be a good showcase fight for her. So I just think a dominant performance by Paige Van Zandt. That's my prediction. Pain and boners. Joseph Benavidez versus Dustin Ortiz. I think this is going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be more competitive than the first fight. I didn't review this one. I see a weird curl in the monitor. I don't know why my hair does that sometimes. Joseph Benavidez winning a decision or, sadly, losing by knockout. That's just what I'm feeling. I'm sorry, dude. I just don't like Greg Hardy. You just don't beat up women, you know? Whenever someone just beats women, not really a fan and don't want to really, no. But I think he's going to win by early stoppage. And one more thing about Greg Hardy. Don't call yourself the Prince of War, bro. You can't call yourself that. And don't ever even try to say, I didn't make that nickname. Someone else made that nickname for me. No. Fighters should not be able to pick their own nicknames because it's weird. Don't pick your own nicknames. They got to come naturally. No one was like, hey, bro, you're a really good fighter. You should be the Prince of War. Hey, bro, you kind of fight like royalty. Prince of War, you know? That sounds like some Xbox game, you know? Hey, bro, you played Prince of War? I've only given myself one nickname, and that was when I was spearfishing. I called myself Blue Otter Pop. You can't give yourself a cool nickname. All right, let's get to the main event. TJ Dillashaw versus Henry. I talk about myself in third person. Cejudo. I think Henry Cejudo might have just been Demetrius Johnson's kryptonite and was able to hold him. And that was a close decision. I don't think he's a dominant champion. He's looked great his most recent fights, and he's pulled off that kind of karate stance and looks like it's very good footwork. But I don't know if he's going to be able to pull it off against TJ. You kind of like, when you have that wrestling and you're able to, you're not be worried about takedowns and you can rush in and everything, you can kind of pull off some slick shit with your stand-up and look pretty slick. But when you go against someone like TJ, who's going to be cutting angles and doing different steps and giving you different looks that you're not used to, I don't think that strategy is going to come into play. I don't think he's going to try to have this really wide, jumping in and out karate stance and switching stances. I think when someone who switches their stance very, very well, like TJ, and has kind of his own kind of thing where he's slipping, when someone who's just adopted that style in the last couple of years tries to do that to them and they switch their stance, the person who's been doing it longer is going to be able to capitalize a lot better on that. And the reactions are going to be a lot faster than someone who's just developing that style more. If that makes sense. Might not make any fucking sense. Cejudo does have a chance here. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It's kind of a cop-out for me to say. I think it's going to go either two ways. I don't think this is going to be a close fight. I don't think it's going to be... I only see a decision if Cejudo wins. But I just don't see this fight going long enough for TJ not to finish him. I see Cejudo getting caught, I think, early. And I don't mean first round early. I see it 2 or 3 rounds. I think the first round is going to be a fill-out process in the sense of TJ is going to have to make adjustments for the speed that Cejudo is bringing. Here's how I think Cejudo wins. Cejudo grinds out a decision. I think he gets him down early, grapples, and smothers him to try to take some of the speed and strength out of his extremities for those later rounds. But I don't see TJ Dillashaw being held down here. There's a huge difference between MMA wrestling and Olympic gold medal wrestling, which that medal burnt up in a fire. So technically, he's not a gold medalist. I'm just kidding, Henry. My official prediction for this fight, I see TJ Dillashaw knocking out Henry Cejudo in the 3rd round. It looks almost like Henry Cejudo has been powerlifting a little bit. He just put some weight on. Sometimes it doesn't translate, but this is just me speculating. This motherfucker is an Olympic gold medalist at the end of the day. He knows his body. He knows how to use it. But my official prediction is going to be TJ Dillashaw, 3rd round knockout. I see Cejudo getting a little bit tired and getting caught. It's going to be stumbling. It's going to be during the stand-up. He's going to get rocked. And I see TJ finishing up against the cage. God, I hope I'm right on that. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. And I'm sorry this came out so late. I wish it didn't. I'm going to start doing these a few days before. So you have a couple days to marinate with them, and we can have some going back and forth. But it's fight night. So if you see this, comment below what your predictions are before the fight happens. And I usually put in my stories, you can see it at I am Evan Lopez on Instagram. I'll put who you're going to pick. I'll make the picks. You just click on the poll who you think is going to win. Do not go in and pick someone who's going to win when the fight is over. Don't think that I don't see you. I know who's doing it. And I lose respect every time you do it. If you pick a winner after the fight happened, shame on you and your household. A plague on your house. Because I check immediately. Boom, it's over. Screenshot. Got it. Then I go, look, okay, let's see what motherfuckers went on here and try to pretend like they had the fucking right answer. Go fuck yourself. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And if I'm completely wrong, I'll eat that crow, baby. I got no problem eating humble pie. This is fucking fighting. Like, anything can happen. Side note, Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. How fucking crazy was that shit? Throwing fucking bricks. Yo, Amanda Nunes comes in here right now, tells me, start doing the laundry, clean the dishes, maybe bake something. I'll be like, okay, you like cookies? How you like your chocolate chip cookies, baby? That was probably my favorite female athlete highlight moment. Like, to see her accomplish that, that was pretty cool to see. And the most amazing thing that I took away from that fight was how Chris Cyborg acted after the fight. There's a cool video, which I'll leave a link to, of how she handled her loss. And it's beautiful. It's crazy. You think some people are undefeated for so long and you see them lose and you think, oh my God, it's all over. Like, how are they going to handle? They're not going to be able to handle this. Hashtag Ronda Rousey. Seeing the way Cyborg handled that loss literally, like, probably made me a better person. Because I was like, that's it, you know? That's how you handle that kind of shit. That's how you just look at life, you know? But I'm not here to, like, wax poetic right now. So I hope you guys enjoy the fight night. I hope you at least watch this. And remember, no matter what, I still love you. Sorry if that hurt your ear.